Namaste, namaskar. So tonight I'd like to talk to you about the five hindrances. I'm currently studying them, and as I study, I'm reading multiple sources on the things that I'm studying, and then I go over them, introspect, and then kind of write them myself. But five hindrances is very important. The first one is sensory desire, the particular type of wanting that seeks for happiness through the five senses of sight, sound, smell, taste, and physical feeling. Now, yesterday I trained hard, and one of the things that sets Raja Yoga apart from some of the Buddhist schools is that the Buddhist schools focus mainly on cultivating mind, cultivating metta, because they understand the ongoing longevity of building the wholesome qualities. Whereas in Taoism and yoga and in Raja Yoga, there's an equal importance put on the health of the physical body. And in fact, in these arts, you can even get to supernatural levels of health for the physical body through spiritual and mental practice. But after training 4 hours yesterday, I have to let my body rest today. So I'm in study, I'm in meditation, and the sensory desire, healthy sensory desire, like I have to eat or I'm going to starve, is good. But what you're supposed to do is contemplate your desires. And what you'll come to see is that you're constantly having these desires. Now, you can break these desires down into all sorts of different things: lust, greed, gluttony, and things like that. The seven deadly sins are good. But I like the way that the Buddhists put it with the five hindrances, because here it's non-offensive and it's saying sensory desire, in particular type of wanting that seeks for happiness through the five senses of sight, sound, smell, taste, and physical feeling. So they're not pointing the finger, but they're telling you that any type of desire that you have for something that's physical is a hindrance to enlightenment. And when you're meditating for weeks and months and you're sitting there meditating, you start to see the desires come up, and what desires good and what desires bad. And you're hungry, you need to eat something, but do you need to go to a five-star restaurant? Do you need to have a very huge meal? Do you need to eat meat? So these things are very important. And unless you're able to tame your mind, and even when the sense desires come up, not act on them, you'll never be able to meditate and you'll never reach spiritual enlightenment. Because in spiritual enlightenment, you're not chasing all of these desires. And if the mind is not tamed from constantly chasing these sensual desires, you'll suffer. Because no matter what you get in these senses, they will never completely fulfill you. So through meditation, it's like weaning yourself off of something. It's like weaning yourself from a drug or weaning yourself from alcohol. For the average individual, it takes time. You have to slowly meditate over time, really dedicate yourself, and over time, you'll let go of these sensory desires. The second one is ill will. All kinds of thought related to wanting to reject, feelings of hostility, resentment, hatred, and bitterness. Ill will also means to press against. And ill will means, that's not going to happen to me. I'm going to stop that from happening. And you build up this wall. And that wall that you build up keeps you from accepting reality for what it is, which leads to aversion, which leads to hatred, anger, violence, aggression, and suffering. The next one is sloth and torpor. Heaviness of body and dullness of mind, which drag one down into disabling inertia and thick depression. Now, for me, when I'm in training, my problem is allowing my body to rest, because I trained 4 hours yesterday, and man, my heart wants to go out there and run today and practice some of my movements, some of my arts, but my body needs to rest. So I'm giving my body rest. So there's a huge difference between giving yourself proper rest and being lazy and torpor, sloth, just not doing anything, just eating heavy foods like ice cream, sugar all the time, and then having this type of mental laziness to where you don't want to do anything. And that dullness of mind, you can't meditate because you need brightness of mind to meditate. The next one is restlessness and worry, the inability to calm the mind. Now, I really like this. I have some problems with restlessness and worry because there's bills that have to be done, there's children that have to be taken care of, and these things, if you lose your place where you live, you're at the will of the elements. So there are good reasons to have restlessness and worry, but it's the inability to calm the mind. See, now that I like the definition. In yoga, you have contentment, santosha. And santosha means to be happy with what you have and not unhappy with what you don't have. But if the spiritual practitioner doesn't actually study and practice and say, you know what? Let me calm my mind, calm my mind, calm my mind, calm my mind. You can never reach spiritual enlightenment. And if you don't reach spiritual enlightenment, you'll never achieve true happiness. The next one is doubt, lack of conviction, or trust. Now, I always had issues with understanding doubt, even when I go back to learning from my first teacher. But now I'm starting to understand more. You kind of need faith because the bills come up, things change. And if you have doubt in your mind, that doubt will lead to restlessness and worry, which leads to suck back into that cycle of samsara. So you need a little bit of faith in the divine, in the universe, in God. Either way, you need some kind of a faith that it's going to work out. And the Buddha says, there's always uncertainty in life. And during this uncertainty, you have to keep your faith, and you have to keep your conviction, and you have to keep your compassion, and you have to keep your even-mindedness, your equanimity. And you can't do that without the faith, and the doubt is what causes that to go into that cycle. So the doubt is one of the hindrances there. So now when you read this and then you go into meditation, you're watching these things arise. So it takes this constant mindfulness and practice to rid yourself of these hindrances and then build up these wholesome qualities, these virtues. And then when you build up these virtues over time, the mind has a higher quality. The spirit gets higher quality. You build up these qualities and it frees you from these fetters. And then you're able to sit peacefully, calmly, happily, joyfully. And you're coming more to realize your soul, your Atman. You're coming more to realize what's going on inside as opposed to constantly chasing what's outside and then reacting to stimuli. Because if you keep reacting to the stimuli, you're a slave to the impermanent existence. And I like how Buddha talks about the hungry ghost realm and how these hungry ghosts, they're surrounded by wealth. They're surrounded by money. They're surrounded by food. But yet they have these really big mouths and these really little necks, and no matter what they eat, they're never satisfied. And I have to really look at myself with these things and say, well, how much is enough? We have what we need, and really develop these feelings of contentment, these feelings of peace of mind. And this comes through study and meditation. There's nothing else that's going to give it to you but study and meditation. And in Raja Yogang, there's an evenness not only between study and meditation, but also between physical practices, pranayama, breathing techniques, so internal energy cultivation techniques, and then meditation techniques, the mental techniques, the ability to start to calm the mind, the ability to start to concentrate, the ability to recognize when you concentrate, and the ability to start to separate what is your five senses, what is your emotions, what is your sixth sense, which is known as the mind, and then what is the seventh and the eighth consciousnesses. So where are the thoughts going? Where's the subconscious mind? Where's the subconscious memories? And then what's going on deeper than that? So you're really peeling back the layers. Namaste, namaskar.